Hello everyone. This is a video to clear up discrepancies about becoming a master viewer of art, and this is year 2. Okay, but it's to clear up discrepancies about year 1 and year 2. And I had an update that I made about last week, the last YouTube that I did on becoming a master viewer of art. Yes, it's a very serious program. There were some discrepancies. First of all, the first year when you start, I kept saying we had to differentiate when we started and the first year after you finish the first year. When you start the program, and as far as starting and everything, you have to look at the other videos. Even the last video tells you which videos to start with. But I'm going to use the term. It's going to be called marking or a mark. When you first start the program, you make a mark. You make the mark by getting a program, getting a map, either by the mail, either by mail or go down to the art museum and get a map such as this. Okay, so once you get this, and once you get this and go through and do the procedures as I told you in the first video as far as becoming a master viewer. The first video that you have to go by, like I said, if you want to know about that video, you have to listen. You have to listen to the last YouTube that I had. It was an update about this. So that would be called making a mark. You make the mark by going through and doing the procedures that I mentioned in the last YouTube, and the previous YouTube before that about being a master viewer of art. Once you figure out what you're going to do at the National Gallery of Art, that will be called a mark, okay? Then that will start your mark. And then when you go down and actually go into and make the view of the first time, that would be a mark also. So you start your mark as soon as you decide you want to go to the program and locate a map, okay, like this. I don't know if it's the same thing. I'll find out pretty soon. Then once you get the map, you make your choices. It's best to come back home or whatever, think about it and figure out which direction you want to go to and which studios you want to see. So, and then once you go down the first time, that will also be the mark. All of this, as soon as you make the decision, from the time you finish making your first view, we're going to call that a mark. Then after the mark, there's 1 year that you wait, and everything is explained, like I said, in the other videos. So that's the number one thing I want to clear up. We're going to call that a mark. That when you finish your first viewing, when you get the map, you finish your first viewing, and you finish for that day, that will be called a mark. And then you wait for around a year, and then you go make your second viewing as explained to you in the other videos. However, there's been some problems this time. I'm not going to go through the problems, as I said, all the time, in 2020. And this is another discrepancy that I'm going to clear up, because when I was going through scenarios, there was one scenario that I didn't clear up too well, and that's year 1, okay? There may have been maybe one person, I don't know, could have been somebody who actually followed along with the program after 1 year. I did, after I made my mark, and then I waited 1 year, around 1 year, and I did go down there. I couldn't go into the gallery, so I drew from maybe year 9 or 10 something that I would give in year 9 or 10, and I put it in for the first year after the mark. So, so, and that's explained in a previous video, the one before this one, what I did. And okay, and I can't go because I'm debating all the time whether I should go over some other material, but you just can't, especially nowadays. You just can't. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but we have to go forward. Okay, so then I did the first year, but there may have been some people who didn't know what to do. So now we're in year 2. Since we're in year 2, and this is the discrepancy that I'm clearing up right now. Since we're in year 2, what about, I'm sure nobody knew what to do the first year since they didn't go in. But just the way things happen, it worked out for the best, because what I did for year 1 can also be done along at the same time that you do it for year 2, because it's like totally different, because I'm drawing from year like 9 or 10. So in my last video, you find out what I did for year 1 after my mark. I waited around 1 year, and I explained to you what I did in the last update that I just made about the second year. Excuse me. So I'm sorry for that. So what I did now is in the second year. For those of you who didn't have anything to do the first year because I didn't get a YouTube, okay, you can do what I did the first year, and then the second year you can go inside and do what I did the first year. I circled it outside, and I explained it in depth in the last video. And then you can go inside and do your second viewing, and that will clear, and that will satisfy your first year and your second year together. So everything worked out perfectly. Before, I didn't know what to say about the first year, but now on second year, it's okay. Just a scenario: if someone didn't know what to do the first year because there was no information, okay, now it's the second year. Well, they can still do what they did on the first year because it's all outside, okay? And then you can do it in the same day. You can go inside and do your second viewing. You made your first viewing on when you made the mark, as I explained earlier. Then the second viewing can be in the second year, okay? And in what you were supposed to do on the first year, you can do on the second year, because it doesn't touch. What you do in your second year doesn't touch what you would have done, what you were supposed to do, or what you would have done in your first year, if you can understand that. Now, if someone, excuse me, if someone just starts the program, they can start at any time, because I explained how you can start at any time. Say if I wanted to start it next month, okay, I would do the things to make my mark, and that is something new. I came up with mark, showing that you made the decision to do it, you get the map, you go over the map, explain what you're supposed to do when you first start the program. So when you first start the program, we're going to call that the mark. So if I wanted to do that, I would make the mark next month if I wanted to start next month. So I make my mark next month, okay, which is October, September, October. So I make the mark, and then after 1 year, around 1 year, I could do the outside, well now I'd have to because everybody has to do the same thing. So on this first year, on this first year after your mark, you do the outside and then you come inside, and that will cover your 1 and 2 years. Now I'm seeing something else, okay? I mean, because we all, okay, because that all has to be done. Okay, yeah. So that could happen, okay? So you can do that 1 year, you could do the outside and then you could do the inside, okay? So what I'm thinking now is, yes, yes, that would have to be done, okay? And then everyone will have done the same thing, okay? And then on your second, oh, now we're up to the second. Oh, wait. There's a problem. There's definitely a problem. Okay, so this is how I have to clear up this discrepancy. Because if you want to start next month, okay, you make your mark. Then after you wait 1 year, you would have to do the outside and not the inside. You have to do the outside and not the inside. So that has to be. And because after you do your outside, okay, okay, because you already did it on when you made your mark in October. You waited 1 year, then you have to do the outside. So you have to just do the outside, and then your next year, because you have to make the 15-page paper. So after you do the outside, okay, like I did in the first year, and like I want everybody else to do in the first year, but forget about that. I'm not going to finish that. So, so after you finish your first year, you do the outside. Then you have to wait a year. You get 15. You get 1 year for your second year to do a 15-page paper, which is explained in the last video. After that, on your second year, you go back inside. But before you go to your second year, you have to do the 15-page paper. Okay, that clears up everything. I'll try and explain that again in another video. Okay. Now, as far as the paper is concerned, I talked a lot about the paper. There's one other discrepancy that I want to clear up. It could be double space. You can make it double space. When I speak about everything, it's in two. Yeah, okay. I put down the first topic that you're supposed to cover on this 15-page paper is what I did the first viewing. Excuse me. So is now would be what I did during my marking period, or during my marking period. So when you hear any other videos, because I didn't come up with the term mark, you have to put in or make a mental note of it that everything I did before I waited a year is called a mark. Okay, so in the 15-page paper, now we're going back up to the 15-page paper that those of you who start after today, starting the program, has to do. So you finish your mark, you finish your first year, you went around the outside, and it's explained in the other videos, like I said, and then you wait another year, which is, so you finish your mark, you finish your first year, then you have to do your paper. And the paper is a 15-page paper, double spaced. And one thing I want to note is everything that you did, and like I said, what you did, you have to say everything you did on your marking time. You can say, I found my interest, I went down, explain your experience, I went down, I picked up the map, I looked at this, and looked at that, but I did come back and figure out what I want. But it's good just to get the map and come right back out of there. And you need to come back home. You need to go away from the place to figure out what you want to do. what you want to do for your viewings, and that's your choice of viewing. And then you write on your paper all that. You write down, I got the map. I went home. I looked over the thing. Very, 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 very not like emotion, no emotions at all. Just what you did, the facts of what you did. And then I looked at the main floor. I chose one. Let me see. Get this light. You can say, okay, so I chose main floor 1 through 33. One, I chose 1 through 33, 13th and 16th century Italian paintings and sculptures. That's a paragraph. You can just go to the next. 17 through 18, 16th century Italian, French, and I'm just showing you mine. Okay, painting, sculptures, and decorative arts. That's a paragraph. Okay, like that. So I'm telling you how to write this because it's void of feelings. It's just what you did your first viewing, the facts. Then you could say, like, when you made your viewing, then I went back, I made the viewing, I went in studio one, okay? And if there's something, I'm telling you what I said, I mean, there was nothing really that happened, okay, as far as facts is concerned. So I am just going to write, I actually started it. Section one, I went in studio one, that's a paragraph. I went in studio two, that's a paragraph. I went in studio four, that's a paragraph. Okay, but there was something I remember in four. So I would say, went in studio four, there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people, so I had to wait to see certain paintings. Okay, that's a paragraph. I went in studio five, that's a paragraph. I went in went in studio seven, that's a paragraph. Went in studio eight, that's a paragraph. Going to studio eight, I got disoriented, that's a paragraph. I went to studio 9, that's a paragraph. I went to studio 10, that's a paragraph. I went to studio 11, I looked outside and I saw the garden and I tried to figure out where I was as far as the building and the map is concerned. That's a paragraph. Went in studio 12, that's a paragraph. Okay, so now you got that. Then when you start the second topic, which is how do you think, no, what I felt while what I felt while doing what I did, what I felt, my feelings during this time, during this viewing. You could pretty much make the topic the way you want to, but it portrays your feelings. The first one is just the facts. The second one is you're going to go back. You can even look at what you did in your first topic and then go step by step if you remember, or if you feel, if you can, okay, like I would go back and then I would say um, things like, I was very excited about getting the map. The people in the gallery was very nice. I went down to get coffee. I love, looking at the gifts. But I knew that I had to come right back out, and I couldn't wait to start the program. And I went home and I went away from the museum like I was supposed to, even though I wanted to stay. And I figured out which programs, which studios I wanted. The first thing I picked 1 through 13, 20th century, 16th, you could put the whole thing down, but you don't have to, but 13th century Italian paintings and sculptures. The reason for that is because I feel that the ancient art, the ancient art is it's more. I just love it more than something more contemporary or closer to my century where I'm living. And I know that and I knew that Italian paintings would be very exciting because they always are. They have a very good painters. Then your next paragraph. Oh, and then 17 to 28. This is something that I was really looking forward to. So you got that 16th century Italian, French, and Spanish painting, sculptures, and decorative arts. This is something that I can't wait to see. And that's why I chose that. Okay, so then the next one, see how it goes. Then when you actually get there, when you get to the part where I went in Studio One, I didn't know what to expect, but it was nice being there. And I did the scanning just like I was supposed to, even though I wanted to see the paintings more. I went into Studio Two. It was pretty much the same thing. I don't really remember going through that. And then when you went to Studio 4, you can skip the numbers on that. Anything that displays emotion that you remember, you want to write down. So I would not write, I would write on 4. I would say, when I walked into 4, I noticed that there was a lot of people. I'm almost sure it was 4 from what I remember. I'm not positive, but I'm almost sure it was 4. And there was something in the center that people were looking at painting, and I couldn't really scan it or view it as I wanted to, so I had to wait, which is no problem because I knew that I had to be patient with other people and enjoy myself also. But I was there doing something, and then I could go like at 7. At 7, there's another paragraph. At 7, I got disoriented because I hadn't seen so many paintings, and just viewing them so fast, I felt like overwhelmed. And then I will wait until, like, after that, I will wait until 17, and I will go 17 for some, not 17, is it, let me see, 13, 11. 11, I looked out in the garden, I said, and I tried to figure out where was I at in the building, so I was kind of confused, even though I knew I had to look at the paintings. But then I said to myself, just finish the paintings, and the garden is still going to be there. So now you got I'm sorry I had to clear up all those things because I want you to know that it's very serious. This is a very beautiful program, and it's serious. So we cleared up about the mark. You're not going to hear Mark in the former YouTube because I don't talk about it. But I came up with marking so that I can explain, like, oh, in my first, when I was making my mark, which means when I started the program. Okay, so mark means you got an interest and you initiated something as far as the program is concerned. So that's cleared up. I cleared up about everybody who didn't do anything, who did the first viewing, who made their mark, and then they waited 1 year. They couldn't go in, and they didn't know what to do. So now it's year 2, and now we know that on year 2, if you're along with me, I already did the outside, but now you know you can do the outside and the inside, so you can take care of last year and you can take care of this year at the same time. But the 15-page paper has to be done before you do your second year viewing. Okay, and I'm late on mine, it's about two months. Okay, so anyway, so now we know that, and we know. Okay, so get the first year, and we know that everybody has to stay on the same page. So if you start like in December, or if you start in next January, you have to make a mark first. Okay, and then after your first year, you have to go around, just round outside of the after you make your mark, then you wait 1 year, you go outside of the architecture. Don't go inside. Just plan something else. Okay? And then after that, you're going to write after the first year, after you go outside, view outside. And it's explained in the former videos. Then you're going to go are you going to wait for your second year? Before your second year, you have to write the 15-page paper, which is explained in the video before this, and I just explained it clear. I could explain more, or the same. Yeah, I explained it very clear about the 15-page paper on this one. And that has to be done before your second year. So now everything is cleared up. Thank you very much. And I'm glad everybody's in the program. Or if you're going to, or you're thinking about it, it's a very nice program. We're finished 2 years. Our next year will be 3 years. It's a 12-year program. So now, next year is going to be about 10 years. It might be more than 12 years, but still yet, if it's 12 years, it's not going to be more like 13, or I might add a year or something. But you'll be doing so well, and you'll be so excited, and you'll be like an X-Man. Okay? So anyway, I'll see you all later. Thank you very much.